Okay, so what I'm taking you through right now is just what? The creation of this clay that has to finish up this fairy house that I'm doing. So that's what we're going to be doing right this minute. And then I'm going to load this up. I'm hoping to load this up before I do my live with you guys tonight at 8 o'clock. This is just to show you what has to be done in order to create these faux sea rock, living rock stones for the fairy mushroom tree. Okay, so now I'm going to take you over to my pasta machine here. And it's going to be a little loud, folks, so I'm warning you ahead of time. Get ready. There we go. All right, so this takes some work and some texturing to do this. So that's what we're doing. We're texturing this and we're coloring it and working it. I'm just going to fold these ends over because they get that way when they go through the pasta machine. They get a little crumbly. It's really much easier if you have a pasta machine, but if you have to, you can hand roll it with a hand roller. It just takes a little bit longer. And this is actually even called a Skinner blend of sorts because of doing the two colors the way I'm doing it. So I'm cutting this. Trying to get it, make sure it's in the camera for you guys when I lean back here and you don't see me. That's why. So here we go. We're going to add some more blue to this. I think it needs more blue in order to get that shade we got going there. And then we're just going to mash that into this. And press it so it gets flat. That way it can go through the pasta machine. Yeah, I'll tell you, having the camera right up on me isn't my best look, but it's the only way I can show you guys, and you get to see me at the same time because I can't dual camera record when I'm making a video that's live. It doesn't do that because apparently YouTube doesn't have that capability. All right, so here we go again. We're going back to the pasta machine, folks. And what we're doing is creating a Skinner blend to create these fairy fantasy sea foam stones. All right, back to the pasta machine. And you know every great crafter and artist, if they got a clean office or a desk, then they're not a real crafter and an artist. Okay, here we go. Noise again. Alrighty. I didn't want to get my fingers caught in there when it was pulling it down. I had it up here before, and I'm going to do it again with a plastic Coke bottle to hold the motor on the side of the machine. There's a motor on this. Alright, so we are working with Senate and Sculpty White to create these sea foam living fairy fantasy stones for the mushroom house. All right, I'm just doing this by hand. I do not know what I do with my roller, so I'm having to push it in by hand. And then we're going to run it again several times through the pasta machine in order to get that look. All righty. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for being a part of my channel. I have a lot of loyal subscribers and new subscribers. We're going to be doing some metal work and stuff coming up in about 2 weeks. I'm going to be doing some torch and metal work with gemstones. And Monday night, I'm having a collaboration with another artist who actually makes glass beads. And I'm going to be wire wrapping and designing his beads into something that he would like and would be much nicer for being able to sell necklaces and all that. All right. Now we're going to work on what? putting this through the pasta machine. It's a lot of pasta machine in this because you can't do this. I can't do it by hand because of my hands the way they are. I'm trying to get this right at the right ankle so you guys can see this. All right, now we're going to go this way, sideways through. There we go. Pick that up. Sorry, my armpit's right in the screen. Okay, now we're going to run this through again. I'm just flattening the sides a little. Mushing them in. Getting those like jagged edges that are caused when it goes through the pasta machine, which is pretty neat. And I think anyone can do this. It does take a little work, but this fairy mushroom house is going to be awesome. It's also, I'm building a floor for it, by the way, folks, out of balsa wood, which is going to be the ground underneath it. And I've got some sticks to make trees out of for it too. And we're going to have mushrooms all over, and the cap's going to be made into a giant mushroom. It's going to be gorgeous. All right, here we go. A little more noise. I got it in there a little crooked that time. I'll know when it's right, so you'll know too, because I'll let you know. All right, so, and again, mushing it down with our hands. And it's fairly soft, believe it or not, and I'm shocked because it's been so cold here. It's so hard to work with clay and resin when it gets cold, and you can't keep your house that hot in order for the clay or the resin to be happy. But we're not using resin in this. It's strictly polymer clay. One is Senate and the other one is Sculpty white in order to get that sea foam fairy look. All right. I'll do this again. I'm going through sideways this time. There we go. And I'm going to actually add a little more blue to this so that it'll get a little darker there. I'm going to cut some more blue up here. Hoping I got enough blue here. If I don't, I have some other blue if necessary. But I think I'm going to get it where I want it. I think it'll be all right. And we're just chopping this up to add it to the other clay. And be careful if you're using these tissue razors. Mine, of course, have two handles on each end, but you can still cut yourself, so be real careful using this. All right. I'm just going to sort of put it all over the clay, trying to see what I'm doing myself through the camera while I'm showing you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Organic Silver Moon Designs. I'm a jewelry and a canvas artist. I also do mixed media, which means I work with everything from clay to metals, from acrylics. I used to do oil. I don't anymore because I have asthma and I can't breathe in the cleaner from that. But I do all the other, including watercolors. All right, I'm just going to press that down into this. And then we're going to run it through the pasta machine again. All righty. And if I'm not able to get this up on the live, I'm just going to send it up as a single video and link it to the live so people will know what I did in order to finish up the fairy bottle with the stones. All right, now we're going to get ready and we're going to go back over to the pasta machine. I'm going to hold that there, just like that. Oops. Just like that. And we're going to press the button. There we go. I'm going to press that down. Push it into the white clay, because we're still working on getting it to where it should be, back over here on the working surface, which is a ceramic tile, by the way, if you're wondering. It's just a little extra blue I had from another one. I'm just trying to get this all worked. It's sort of like working, if you've ever cooked bread or something, sort of like getting it to that nice non-sticky texture and to marry in all the colors. But you'd be marrying in the spices if you were cooking, but this is not cooking. This is a clay. A polymer clay is a plasticized clay, which means it's not really clay at all. So when you go to bake it and stuff, I try to use a toaster oven. I'm probably going to have to use my big oven on this one because it's so large. And so you have to be careful because the stuff will burn. I'm going to do it in 2 sections here. Get it kind of rolled out, and then I'm going to smush it flat with my hand. Like I said, I know what I did with my roller. So I'm just pressing it down with my hand so it can go through the pasta machine. And the color is just gorgeous. If you don't notice already, the color is just beautiful. All right. Press these 2 ends down like that. Just use your thumb and your other fingers and just sort of work it. Work that down some with the palm of my hand. As you need it flat enough to go through the pasta machine. You can't roll it up or put it through as a ball or anything. It will not fit the pasta roller. So you have to flatten it down, folks. All right, here we go again. We're going to start with this piece. I'm going to bend it over like that to shorten it up. And the same on the other end. Get all those little bips out of there so when it goes through it doesn't make it any more shreddy than it will be. But it won't be. Once I've run it enough, the clay will not do that. It won't be all shreddy looking. Okay, here we go again. More noise, folks. Be ready if you got headphones on or earbuds. You need to turn them down. There we go. That's more like the color I was looking for. Now we're going to do this piece. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to mush each end up like this so that it'll be short enough to fit the pasta machine. And here we go again. Just sort of pushing that down in there. There we go. And we're going to get that all mushed up and squished together, however you want to call it. Mush it, squish it. And then I'm going to use this piece here and get it all mushed together as one. So we're only working with one. Hopefully everybody can see okay. It's a lot of fun working with polymer clay, by the way. If you want something really creative, because you can make anything. I've made faux turquoise. In fact, I've got a piece over here, laying over here, that's really pretty. And then it's covered in resin on the front and back. And it's faux turquoise. I thought it was really pretty. And I've wire wrapped a few too that came out beautiful. I do use real gemstones. I do work with real silver and real copper. I do metal work and torch work. And that is coming up in about 2 weeks from now. Because I am disabled, sometimes I have to end my live soon because my hands cramp up so bad and the spasms in my back. I can't stay any longer than what I do, and sometimes the work requires more time. So I end up doing 2 or 3 videos. But you're still learning, and it's a lot of fun. So we're just getting this all squished together, kind of marrying all the clay together. Using the heat of my hands. There we go. All right, take you back over to the pasta machine. Make sure you have your headphones and all that turned down. Trying to make sure that's up so you guys can see this. All right, turn your headphones and lower your earbuds or your speakers, whatever you have. Here we go. All right, perfect. This is perfect, folks. It may not be perfect on one end, but it's pretty close. So I got the color I want. That's how I want it to look. It's pretty close. And then we're going to cut the edges off that are all rough, and I'll reuse those where I need them. So we're just going to cut down here like this. Take that off so it's nice and smooth. Same thing for here. There we go. And we're going to cut this side. Hopefully everybody can see what I'm doing to even it up. I'm going to peel that back of the polymer clay that we mixed for the faux living fantasy blue rock stone. Okay, and we're going to do it up here too. Cut this edge off so it's straight. And I'll keep all these scrap pieces because I don't know if I'm going to need spare to be able to fill the whole jar. It is by the way, it is nothing more than I think it's a ragu or Prego jar that I'm using as my base. Because unless you're a millionaire, you will not be able to build this thing unless you build it out of air clay or sculpt it out of air clay. So that's why it's being called a sculpting, because it is. All right, so now I'm going to move that piece over there. And then I have what is actually a pick that you use. I can find it. Hold on one second. I know it's here. Here, no. All right. We've got to do some little pokies in this. And I'm looking for my little ice pick that I use. Give me just a second. Here we go. Here we go. Here is the magic thing. So we're going to take this. And I'm going to take this, which is actually a resin tool, but we're going to use it like a clay tool. And we're going to make lines so that we have these squares. And we're just going across like that. I'm going to keep doing this all the way over. There we go. And again. And again, because we're making like bricks, but they're faux living stone. And so this is probably how the fairies went down to the ocean and got their stuff and brought it back. We're just helping them. Okay, so I'm going to move that little edge off right there. Cut that off from there. Because we don't need it. It's really a lot of fun, and it's going to be so gnarly pretty when it's done. Okay. Now, I'll cut the end of this off too because I want it to be straight across. But in the meantime, we're doing this. We're doing like a dimpling effect with little pokey holes so that it has some texture to it, because even lava stone has texture. And so does living rock in the ocean. It has texture also. So here's what we're doing. We got to do this all the way up and down. So we can make the stones. And I'm hoping to get the ground and the floor in tonight on it. Probably going to glue together. I think I've got some E6000 we're going to use to glue together the boards so that I have a place to place the entrance and the outdoors to the Fae Mushroom House Fantasy. A lot of fun. Just takes some work for doing this dimpling. I can tell you got to do a lot of it for it to show up right. So that's what I'm doing. Cut your headphones down if this is too loud for you. I don't think it is, but if it is, cut your headphones or your earbuds down or turn your speakers down. It's going to take a minute to get through all this. I'm going to do these first two and attach them, and then we'll work on the others, dimpling them. It's really cool. It's a lot of fun, and it's going to be so pretty and cute. Now this fairy mushroom house, fairy mushroom house, is not designed to go out in your garden. I don't think it would take weather. I could treat it with some kind of chemical so that it could, but it wasn't made for that. All right, now we're going to take that, now that we've dimpled all those like that, and we're going to cut. Let me get these little pieces out of the way over here on my scrap clay. And we're going to cut these two right here. Whoops. So that we can cut them off. Back and forth till you fill the bottom. And we're going to peel this up like this. And I'm going to lay it over here. And we're going to begin to cut our stones from this. I'm going to cut this in so it's more straight. And by the way, while I'm cutting the stones this way, that actually is the way they're going to lay. They're not going to lay like they are. I'll show you why. Let's see if I can do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and cut off the end on that one and that one. All right. Now we're going to peel it up. See how we're getting the little clay stones? And what I do is I kind of smush it down just a little bit and squish it on the sides. If I have to, I will put more dimpling on them, which I probably will have to, because I want them to look a certain way. Then they're going to go over here on here like this. But we're going to be using, and I'll show you. Let me go ahead and pull a few more of these and get them shaped. And then I'll show you what we're doing. Okay. I'm just shaping these so they look more like little stones, little bricks. I guess I could have done more like a stone, like a rock sticking out, but I didn't think that that's how I wanted this to look. I was afraid it would have too many gaps by doing that. So we're doing them more like stones, like brick, only fairy living blue stone. Okay. As you can see, they look more like stones when I do that to them. So that's why we're doing it, so they're not squares. Just squishing them on both sides and working it out. Flatten them down a little bit. And they look more like a stone, like a brick, which is cute. All right. This is so awesome, folks. Sorry, I can't always be in the camera because I'm leaning over to do this. All right. And as I said, this is a video before the live. So this is to show, and I'm hoping that I can be live on it with it. I'm not quite sure. I've never done one that way, so I think it's called a premiere. So that's what I'm hoping I'm going to be able to do. So we shall see. And we don't want them to be perfect because what? They're being brought up from the ocean, so they're probably not perfect. The little fairies have gone and collected all these stones from the water. Whoops. That one's a goof. There we go. And then the next one. Squish that one up too. Press it and squish it. There we go. And then we're going to use the little ice picky thing again, which I'm telling you, where'd I put it? I like losing that ice pick. There we go. There it is, right there under the clay. All right, so we're going to poke these again. So they have all these little holes because it's supposed to be living stone from the ocean. Only we made them blue because it's a fairy house and it's a fantasy living stone. Because in the real ocean, sea rock and living rock usually is gray and brown. And then there's usually seaweed and stuff living off of it. But this house is designed different. So I didn't want something that actually looked real, because it's a fantasy. We're just tapping all these little holes in here so they'll have like a sea foam living rock. It's going to be really cute when it's all done. I think everyone will love it. It's a fairy fae mushroom house, and we're going to be creating the mushrooms too, which is going to be a lot of fun. And for those mushrooms, when I get started, I have 10 full in order to create the mushroom and the shape of it, the hollow top. All right. Okay, so there we go on those. Now we've got those created. We're going to turn them over, each one of them. Like that. Like I said, they're not meant to be perfect. Okay, and we're going to be using some Sculpey Bacon Bond. By the way, this is an adhesive. You can read it right on it. If I can get it where you can see it. It's an adhesive, a bakeable adhesive. Now we're just going to put like a drop and move it back and forth on there so it'll cover it all. You don't need a lot. You just move the tip so it'll get on all of it. There we go. And then we're going to put these on. We're going to put all the others on too, but I was just getting this started so I could show you guys. All right. I'm going to do some little more tapping here so it has some more holes in it. And then you just push it up like that. Next one, just like that. Just push it up there. Use that to kind of shape it. And push it down. And then we'll tap some more holes. Which gives it that sea foam living rock look. And the next one, right there. You can sort of shape it as you go. Like that. Press it down and back. I'm just going to press it up right there like that. And then we're tapping the little dimpling or dipping, something like that, dimpling the stones. I'm going to put another one right there. And I see where I'm going to have a gap there. See that gap there, folks? We're going to fix that. No problem. And again, just dimpling it. Pressing that up like that. And I'm going to get something right now. I'll show you what I'm going to do. As we're doing it all, the stone dimple, I have a little teeny sliver here. These little pieces really come in handy. I'm going to tear a piece off and put it right in there. Just like that. And then we'll dimple that too. There we go. Need to dimple this one some more right here. I am going to put probably a lacquer over this to protect the clay and the stones that I've made on here. Just going back where I see where it needs dimpling that I didn't get for the Sea Foam Fairy Fantasy Blue Rocks that all the fairies went out and worked so hard. Probably took 100 fairies just to go out and to go out and pick these stones out of the ocean and then bring them back. All right, there we go. Now we're going to turn over a few more of these stones. Just like that. Oops. And put the bacon bond on them so that they'll adhere to the glass jar, and then when they get baked they'll stay on. And after that I'm going to put some kind of clear spray on them or varnish. I have some varnish, art varnish that I can use. Okay, we'll just place that right there like that. And let's see, I need to cut one of these like that and put that right there. So I got to put a little varnish on there so that little hole right there you see can be covered. All right, there we go. That should work just right. There we go, just like that. Use this to straighten it out a little bit. Straighten that stone out next to it, I see. More dimpling. Alrighty. Just 1 second here. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're putting on these fairy faux living stone. I have a few little holes to gap up here, but we'll get those in a minute. And we're finishing up the house. And from the house, we'll end up doing our mushrooms and all that too, and our ground underneath of it. So I'm just putting each one up here like this. It's going to look really cute, and I think it's going to be pretty awesome when it's done. There we go. Hopefully everybody can see that okay. I'm going to turn over some more of these stones here. So that we can get some more bacon bond on them. I hope everybody's having a great day. So we're working on these stones, which are faux living sea rock for the fairy mushroom house, fairy mushroom house, which is also going to have a ground and a bunch of mushrooms, and the lid on the top of the jar is going to be made into a giant mushroom. And it's going to have door and windows. Or just put a little bit. You only need a little bit. You just drop it and then move the thing, and it'll do it in sort of a line. And that way we've got this on there. And this is bakeable adhesive, folks. It's bacon bond. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I'm in frame. The thing's in frame. This is, I can't use this double recording when I'm doing live, so I'm doing it now, and I'm hoping that I'm going to run this as a premiere to my live. There we go. And like I said, they're not perfect. This is fantasy. And imagine how hard these little fairies and fae had to work to make these. The mushroom house and the living stone. There we go. Use the ice pick here to kind of straighten them up. That one a little ways down, not much. Some more pokies in this one. When the clay is soft like this, your hands have a tendency to mush out whatever you put on it. So I'm having to go back and redo some of them to make sure the little holes are in there so they look like living rock. Yeah, I think it's going to look great. It's going to be really cute. It's lots of fun, and you can do this, folks. You can do this. Just follow my steps and how I cut and everything. Straighten that out with this. There we go. Now we're going to bring over these, which we had already lined and everything. And we're going to do some more pokey holes in them. I'm going to cut off this piece here. It's kind of jagged. I know I want it to look, it can look funky a little bit, but not a lot. Because I need it to match up. And we're going to cut this end off here. Because it's not square. There we go. I'm going to get this one a little bit right here because I guess I could cut it there. There. Yeah, that'll work. And then I'm going to make lines in it this time. Here's a little easier way to do it to make the stones. You just want to make lines into them. There we go. There we go. More lines, and that makes more stones. We'll just keep doing it like this. And then I'm going to do the little pokey with the ice pick to give the texture. Just trying to make sure everyone can see what I'm doing. There we go. And as you can see, some of the stones will go down this way and some will go across depending on how you do it. There we go. Same thing here. You just go all the way across. All right, now we're going to do the little pokies in all of them. Got to have it so it looks like living sea stone, and it wouldn't look like that if it didn't have the little holes, because in the ocean, the little critters and stuff that live underneath there, poke holes and everything else, they actually make their homes in some of these stones. So we're assured that these fairy fae, for their mushroom house, did not collect any stones that had anything living in it. Alright. I'm going as fast as I can with these. This is called dimpling. Kind of a dimple poke to make these stones. And I hope everybody's enjoying this. Again, I'm Organic Silver Moon Designs. I'm a jewelry and a canvas artist. I do everything from painting to metalwork. I work with mixed media, which means I work with all media, from gemstones to precious gemstones to sterling silver to silver filled to copper and some tin work. I haven't done any tin work in a while, but you never know, that may be next. I'm going to be doing some kind of metal smithing work coming up in about 2 weeks. I have to get my other table ready for me to be able to use my torch and my soldering iron and all the different tools that I have for shaping and bending metal. We're almost through the dimpling. Yay! Please make sure you do, as I said earlier, make sure you keep your headphones down, and if you're wearing earbuds, turn them down. If you got speakers, you might want to turn them down so it's not so loud on you. I hope it's not too loud. Such a fun project, folks. And really, it's not that hard. It's just time consuming, and it takes a little time to think about the detail and how you're doing it. And this is a fairy mushroom house. All right, and now we're going to cut these just like this. And then I just press my blade a little bit under there so they'll move. And I showed you how to put them on single because when I first started, I always advised putting the stones on single so that they'll be even as possible. And then after that, we're going to do it this way. There we go. Just pulling that up. Cutting the next row of sea fairy mushroom stones, living stone. Oops. That's why I wanted to lift it with that. So let me do that again. Not do it with my hand. I'll lift it up this way with that. See how nice and clean that brings the whole piece up. I'm going to cut this edge off on here. I'm just going to lift it up here like that. There we go. And then, voila, we're getting back to the house and to using the bacon bond, which is really cool. Hopefully everybody can see okay. And we're going to put a little bit of bacon bond on here, and I'm going to do it in dots and pull the dots out so that it goes all the way down. But when I first started, folks, all these little stones were set by hand. So I do recommend doing that to begin with before you actually start laying strips. Okay, so we're going to put one right there, just like that. Trying to turn around so you can see. There we go. And see how much faster that was to lay that one? But when we do that, we got to do this too, to try to straighten it up, because we're laying big pieces now. Okay, so now we're going to lay this one. Just trying to rub some of that out of the way. As I said, you put little drops as you go, and that way you can just kind of bounce it all the way, and it'll make a nice little line for the bacon bond on the back of your polymer clay. Okay, and then we're going to put it here. Start right here, and then bend it around like that. I'm just turning it so you guys can see. There we go. Perfect. Now we're just going to press it down and press them up like that so they go up there evenly as possible, even if it is organic and wet. That's part of my name. Looking, we still want it to have some symmetry. All right. And this here, I'm just going to press it down here like that, and then press it up again. And that'll just look like it's... Press those down a little bit so they reach those stones there, the seafoam fairy stones. And we're going to do the same over here. Oops, sorry. We're going to do the same over here. I didn't mean to get out of frame. And I kind of press this down right here, and those little stones there, and press it up. There we go. Just like that. And we're almost there, folks. We're almost to the very bottom. Probably another couple of lines after this of sea fairy stones. And this makes it even easier. But I wanted to show you laying the single stones again in case somebody forgot or somebody wasn't here when I did the first stones. Because I did them all one by one until I started getting at the middle. And now we're going to lay this right here, like that. and press it up right there like that and over. See there? And then we're going to take this, kind of smush it there. It almost looks like a grout line on the fairy house. There we go. Perfect. Oh, perfect in my eyes anyway. It is a sea fairy fantasy house. Okay, now we got another strip here to do of the stones. Do the same thing with the line. Dip, dip, dip. There we go. You don't need a whole lot of this, folks. I'm just telling you. Okay, so I'm looking here. I got some fruit flies. If you guys see one every once in a while land on something, I'm so sorry. Okay, so we're going to try and put this piece right here. Whoops, right there along that bottom where there was a big gap there, right? And we're going to take the ice pick, or you could use a piece of wire if you get a stiff enough piece. A 16 gauge wire could do the same thing. And we're just shaping that right like that. There we go. Now I'm going to poke some more holes in here. Like I said, sometimes your hands get in here and they smush stuff down because, you know, it's soft. This clay's soft anyway. I'm surprised because the other night it was so cold. I had the house so hot I thought I was just going to suffocate in here, trying to keep it warm enough. Okay, so the only thing we have left, folks, on this now is a couple little gaps, and then this part here we're going to make to fill in that. And we will have made all the sides to the fairy house. Then we're going to work on the top and starting the mushrooms. So hang on, more fun coming. Okay, so next what we're doing, let me see if I can get myself back over here. Sorry, folks. Oh, Lord. Trying not to pull my camera off and everything else. Okay, so what we're doing next here is, as you can see on the top layer here, pull it back a little. We need to fill these gaps in underneath the top. So we're just going to squish these down a little bit, try to make them a little smaller than what they are. Hopefully everybody can see that, what I'm doing, which is smushing down these parts right here and making them a little smaller. Same thing for this one and this one. And then we're going to put Mod Podge on the back of those. And then we will probably do some more stimpling on them. Okay, same as before, only for these smaller pieces now. I get that one. Like I said, you need very little of this bacon bond to get these to attach. All right. Let me lift this up some so you guys can see what I'm doing around the top of the fairy lid. Just going to go like that. Okay. Just like that. Just pushing it down a little bit. We're going to use the ice pick to do that again, which is really, this is really meant for this little pick. You use it with the leather. There we go, like that. As we don't want it not to be able to, that cap to screw on, because that's where the top mushroom's going to go. And it's got to be able to screw onto that lid. We're just working our way around like this. Okay, now we have another little, I don't think that piece is going to show. So I'm going to smush that kind of down here with my hand. And I'm going to make little lines up here so they look more like the stone. Like that. And then we're going to do the stippling again. Little stipples. Sorry. Try to move this back some so you guys can see what's going on here. Or I'll hold it down like this maybe. Yeah, that works, I think. That way you guys can see what I'm doing. Yay! Alrighty. Hopefully everybody's having a great day. Okay, now we're gonna do a little, well, I think I'm gonna just smush this kind of up here, because this is where the lid is. Not so sure. But we have a few spots down here that have to be fixed. Right there. Press that in there, like that. We'll make a line there, and then we'll stipple it. And it'll just kind of blend right in with everything else by doing that. Now we need to get some more Mod Podge here on this piece. And I'll probably have to make a couple more lines for this. We're almost there, folks, on finishing this part up. Okay. Whoops. Push that up there, that up a little ways. I'll push that right in there like that. Another piece there. Take a little piece here to put in between there to fill in that gap. Just push it up because this bottom isn't going to show once it's down there. I've got to get, this to be more like this. There we go. And then like that. We'll just stipple it, stipple it, stipple, 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 everywhere stipple. Everywhere a stipple. More stippling right here, because these were new pieces added. There we go. Line right there. Push that down a little. Line right there. Whoops. I'm going to have to take a few pieces here. I can put that there, and then I'm going to put some Bacon Bond on it, because we got to have Bacon Bond on it, or it will not stay there. Thank you so much, everybody, for your patience. Just back up here so you can see what I'm doing here, too. Just a little drip of Bacon Bond right there. Same thing on this little piece, just a teeny bit. I'm going to put this little skinny piece right here in this little bitty hole right here. Just going to smush that in there like that. And work that up. And then we'll stipple that too. So it'll sort of blend right in there. And we got one more right here. And let's see, do I have any more little gaps in here? That's what we're looking for right now, to make sure we don't have any more gaps in here. That's the only gap left. Okay, so with that one, we only need it to be, and it's got only so big, and it's got to be skinnier. Trying to make it so you guys can see what I'm doing. I've got stuff all over my work area. Okay, we're just going to take that piece off there and that piece off there. We're going to dimple it up. We may have to dimple it again once we get it on there. As you can see, it's fairly soft right now because I really worked this clay between that, my hands, and the pasta machine. Okay, then we're going to bend it over, or flip it over, I mean, and put a little Bacon Bond there. Yay! You only need a little bit, though, folks, I promise you. You don't want to overdo it because you'll just be wasting your Bacon Bond, and it isn't cheap, but it isn't super expensive, but I don't call it cheap either. All right, I'm going to use I call it an ice pick, but it's meant for your leather work is what it's meant for. Okay, then we're going to stipple that up. We got that gap fixed. Yay! Perfect. Perfect as it's going to get. Then we're going to work on making the doors and all that, and the windows. The windows I'm going to cut them out of the stone that I already created on here, guys. And then I'm going to lay a clay frame on them. Yay! Okay, so that part's done. Give me 1 second. We'll get this rolling again. Okay, so we're doing this because I'm going to save these pieces of blue that I have because they're just gorgeous. You can use them on another project. I may also be using them somewhere in the scenery for this Fairy Fae house that we just did all the stones on, the living stones. Very gorgeous. And so we don't know what we may be using that still for in this project. And it's already worked and softened, which I am so happy. Because you have no idea how much work it was to get it softened before I could even run it through the pasta machine. Okay, so I'm just going to smush all that together. And by the way, folks, keep your clay in the original packaging if possible. If not, you need to put it in something that it won't leach through. Because it can, believe it or not, I'm just going to tell you right up here, right now. If you use one of these, I'll show you, like this little thing I have here. Trying to show it to you. This little cart here for all the beads and stuff. You go putting your clay in there, and it is going to leach right through that plastic. It won't put a hole in it, but it actually eats into it and destroys the plastic. I don't know what polymer clay is actually made of, except I know it's a plasticine type clay. And so you need to put it back in stuff like this to keep it from leaching. So if you have a spare few pieces, or if you have your clay in a plastic container already that you bought it in, keep it in that. Either that, or I guess you could wrap it in tinfoil and saran wrap it, and then tinfoil it. You could do that. Okay, so I'm going to now, we will be creating the mushrooms and stuff, but I am going to now start working on the ground. And we're going to use this green and this yellow, because that's going to be our landscape. And the green is also, by the way, I'm creating 2 trees to go on the landscape, which I may have to size these down. They may be way too big. So we'll see when we get there. So we're just going to open this up, and we're going to start working this through the pasta machine. This probably isn't going to be as hard to work because it's not really hard. And it's Fimo, by the way, professional clay. It was actually all I could get. I couldn't get the other. They were out of it or something for like polymer clay. So I got the Fimo. It's a little more expensive, but that's okay. This project is definitely worth it. It's absolutely going to be amazing. So I'm going to cut about this much off. Luckily, I got 2 packs of each because I intend on making the ground out of this and the trees. And I'm going to soften this up in my hand. It's not as hard as my other clay was, so hopefully it will not be as hard to try to soften it and get it to flatten out. I hope. And we'll be running it through the pasta machine also. Oops, and also be careful. Usually I try running a paper towel or a piece of white clay through the pasta machine to make sure all the clay colors are out. So we're just going to use this and hope that I don't get any blue in it. We'll hope. I'm bending over here. I've got stuff I need to move. while I'm doing this. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I'm so happy everybody supports me, all my subscribers. And hey, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe. It's a lot of fun. We do a lot of neat stuff on this channel. A variety of what? Not only art and mixed metals and all that, but also, you know, I guess some of it's considered crafting to learn how. And it's not that hard. Like I'm showing you how to roll this clay. It couldn't be any simpler than this. You're just rolling it out and softening it in your hands. If you have a roller, you can roll this flat before you put it in the pasta machine. I've just been pressing it down. I do have rollers. I don't know where they are, folks. I don't know what I did with them. I don't know what to tell you. But I will find them eventually once I've been in this studio long enough, which is really my apartment. I turned my bedroom into a studio where I could work. So we're just pressing this down. We're going to try to get it as flat as possible so I can run it through the pasta machine. All right. And like I said, I believe I put in my things that this was possibly going to be a 4-part video. It may be a little bit longer than that. It may be 6 parts. And I'm going to start trying to go live on Thursday night at like 6:30 every week. And then Friday and Saturday is between 7:30 and 8:30, unless I get sick or something. I usually let you guys know. I messed up this last Saturday, and I fell asleep because I hadn't been feeling good, because I've been fighting that upper respiratory infection now for about a month. And so I really apologize, everybody, for that. Oops, looks like I got some blue in here. That's what I'm talking about. So we'll just cut that out, because we don't want that blue in there. It's on my towel. And this is, I don't know why, but this stuff is sticky. But it is professional Fimo clay, which is, this is really good. Just like the blue I used in the fairy house, that was Cernet. I usually use Cernet to make faux stones. So it's some good quality clay. Primo is just as good, folks, okay? Primo polymer clay is just as good. It's the workhorse of clay. All right, so now I'm going to bring you back over here. I'm thinking I'm going to have to turn my overhead light on in a minute, because I'm losing light here. So let me see. Give me 1 sec. Okay, so we're still working on this green clay. And I'm going to be using, this is Kato, some Kato I had left over. I don't want to waste it. It is not cheap. All this stuff is really expensive now. So this is a translucent clay. And I'm going to be mixing the translucent clay with the green clay. Yeah. And this clay is a little older, but it will work. Trust me, I've seen clay last 2 and 3 years. You just got to know how to treat it and how to keep it. So the translucent clay is going to lighten up that green just a little bit. And it'll help sort of extend the green clay so we don't have to use as much that we're going to be using on the ground underneath the fey mushroom fairy house. I thought we'd get to work on the ground underneath, and then the last of all will be the mushrooms, which are going to be so much fun, folks. I've made them before. They're a lot of fun to make. Makes out to be a real fantasy and real fun. Because we know all the fairies and the fays live out where? In the forest. And they live in tree stumps and mushrooms and underneath them. And they even make their houses that way. So, okay, now I'm going to try to scrunch this up together and squeeze it with my hand. I may have to put some clay softener in it. I don't know. We'll see where we go from here. This is not as warm. This was sitting in another part of the room. In fact, we'll do it now. This is clay softener, and I'm going to tell you, I have used what? Not only olive oil, but I've used vegetable oil, and the best thing is baby oil, because this is almost the same, except I believe it has a little glycerin in it, but it is basically baby oil from what I can tell, the texture and the fill. Now, if I'm wrong, somebody let me know in the comments afterwards or while you're here with me, because I'm going to be trying to run this as a premiere to my live video. And it'll be the first time I've done one like this, so we'll see how it goes. So if you're all here and I'm already live, then I was successful. If you're not, then we're going to go from there. We'll see what happens. I'm just trying, you can see, look, my hands look like they're got grease oil all over them. That's what that stuff really is. That's all it is. And we're just going to keep working it and working it till I can get this soft enough. It's probably going to make my green clay really soft, which I don't really want, but oh well. Just keep working it in your hands. This is all a part of it, folks. All a part of it. All right, we're just going to keep working it. Okay, so we're still working on this clay, all right? And I got some of the clear Cernit in there. Hoping everybody can see what I'm doing. There we go. These are kind of some little chunky pieces that came through, and then we're going to run it through again through the pasta machine. I did it while I was off camera for a second and then came back. It's definitely a bit of a job. I'm going to put that over there. And we're just going to press this down using the side and the palm of my hand. Press it down and work it. Because that's really what you need to do if you don't have a roller to get it through the pasta machine. All right. A lot of fun making this faux fairy house. We're working on the ground color right now is what we're doing. All right. Now let me take you over to the pasta machine, which is all like... I'm trying not to get this on my camera. Sorry about the fingers in front of the camera. Okay. Whoa. See if I can get this light a little better on the pasta machine for the second anyway. Okay. You can see like some greasy stuff. That's from this, from that mixing that oil stuff in it. Lots of fun. Make sure you got your headphones down. I already warned you before we were running the pasta machine to please make sure you turned your headphones and your earbuds way down. Or your speakers, whichever it may be. Here we go again. There we go. Okay. Fold it over and do that again. More sideways so we get a bigger piece. There we go. I like the looks of this. What's going to be fun is baking this on the bottom. So probably on the ground, I am likely, oh, I got a little blue in there, but I'll turn it over. Likely on the ground, I am going to make it so that I use my heat gun on that to cure it. Alrighty, now let's get a piece of balsa wood here. All right. And I'm going to put some bacon bond on this, because this can also be used. Just going to do a little bit there like that. Kind of wiggle it around. You don't have to use a lot, just a little. There we go. Everybody see that? Sorry. Just wiggle it around a little bit. Not a whole lot. You don't need to use a whole lot, folks. I'm sort of just scraping it on as I put a little bit out of the tip each time. All right. We're going to turn it around. I'm going to adhere our green on here. And I'm going to try to make it look as much as I can like real ground and grass. I'm going to try. So I'm just going to poke that down like that. And do it again like this. Stretch it a little bit. I'll probably have to use another half of green on this. Yep, I thought so. Okay. There we go. Fill that in there. Fill another piece up there. All right, it's going to look really cool. All right, so I've got some ball ends here. We're going to use this to try to, whoops, make some texture here, which I don't know where my other texture thing is, but we're going to dimple it too. I'm going to press this down here. You just kind of work it out, folks. Like you're going to smush it and work it over so it'll kind of stretch and cover those holes like that. Just like that. Works perfect. Perfect, perfect. I'm going to fold this up. As we're not covering the bottom, it's just the top. And you're just smushing it around with your fingers to kind of work it so you can spread it out. There we go. And we're going to make it look like grass is what we're going to do. At least that's what I'm hoping to get that effect. Just pressing this down. And I'm pressing down and pulling my thumb back, folks, to get this to go to the edge. As I do that, it brings it to the edge. There we go. Same thing here. Press it out and bring it to the edge. There we go. I can use this to kind of round the edge off, or I can use the ball thing. There we go. So you can see the edge on here. It's pretty cool, I'm telling you. My hands are now all greasy from that clay softener. Wow. There we go. We're just pressing that and pulling and pushing whichever way causes it to go out. All right. Get this blue off my hand. I'll cover some of this up. I'm going to get a couple more pieces of green here. Start with a piece like this and a piece like this. I'm just going to smush this in our hands and then smush it down flat like that. Hopefully you guys can see everything okay. Try to bring it back a little, maybe, and up. I'm not sure. There we go. And then we're going to put this through the pasta machine, and we'll do 2 more pieces after this, because I'm thinking it's going to take about 4 pieces of this total of the green Fimo clay, and we're using this for our grass bottom. And just remember, we have 4 pieces of this to go down, or at least 2 to 4 pieces, and so it's going to take quite a bit. That's why I bought 4 of those green clays. So that's why it helps, folks, when you thumb up the video and like it and you subscribe, because it helps support me so that I can continue to do all these neat things along with my jewelry and my canvas art. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I really appreciate everyone being here. I'm so happy. I'm very honored to have all the wonderful subscribers and creators that are subscribed to my channel also. So, very lucky. Okay, we're going to pull this back over here. Try to straighten that up for you guys. Trying to pull that up, and then we're going to go through the pasta machine. Turn down your headphones or your earbuds or your speakers, folks. It's going to be loud. Okay. Got to go through there again. Trying to make it so you can see. I'm sitting about 3 feet back from my pasta machine trying to do this. All right. I know there's a lot of people that won't even show you that they're doing it through the pasta machine. You'll just hear the noise. They'll say, I'll be back in a second, but I want you guys to be able to see it. Okay, so we have this piece here. It's raggy. That's perfect because grass is not perfect, is it? Okay, and then we're going to stretch that out over here. Maybe 2 more pieces like this. And just smush it and pull back with your fingers so it goes to the edge. This is Fimo Professional Clay, and it is a Fimo. I'm trying to tell you the exact green it is. Thought it said on here. Okay. Molding clay, oven bake, professional. Made in Germany, folks. Fimo is made in Germany. I think this is like a winter green or something. I'm not sure. I'll tell you. I'll find out and make sure. We're going to cut 2 more pieces here. Same way. You actually cut on those lines, but my hands are so gooped up from that stuff. I'm lucky I can cut it. Okay, there's 2 pieces there. Just a second here. Okay, folks, this is called leaf green. It's leaf green. There's the name right there. Let's see if I can fix it so you guys can see it. It's called leaf green. It's right there. All right, so now we know what type of green it is. We got to smush this up, and then it's got to go through the pasta machine again. All right, fun, fun, fun. Fairy Fae Faux Mushroom House. Yeah, this is awesome, folks. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Again, I am Organic Silver Moon Designs. I'm a jewelry and a canvas artist, and I do mix media. I work with every kind of media there is when I'm creating. So I do everything from metal to crystals to silver to gold. I do it all. If you can afford gold and you can buy it, I will make it for you. It will be a custom piece, so it would not be cheap. So you'd have to purchase the gold at whatever price it is and the right amount, if that's what you want. And I'm able to do that. Okay, give me just a second and we're working this clay. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, so I am pressing down on this. Bring you back here. I'm pressing down on this so that I can make it flat so it will go through the pasta machine to create 2 more layers of faux grass for our fairy house, our fairy house mushroom house. We will be making mushrooms and all that too. This is going to probably be, I'm guessing now, probably a 6-parter. We'll see how it goes. If I can do it faster than that, I will, but I'm not going to skimp on making it nice because it's going to be awesome, folks. All right, give me just a second. We're going to bring you back over to the pasta machine. Remember to turn down your headphones. If you have earplugs in, turn them down. And if you have speakers, turn it down right now. Got my arm right in the way on the back of the camera. All right, folks. We are working on the ground for the Fairy Fae faux house, which is going to be grass. All right, now let's get us back over here where I am working on the pieces of grass. Okay. There we go. I think we got it. We got it. This sort of takes the whole thing. Awesome, awesome. We're just pressing it out with our fingers. We're going to turn it around. We're going to press it down some more here, because we want to pull this all the way out to fit this piece of balsa wood that I'm using. By the way, this is the wood I would burn on too, but that's okay because it's going to make a great floor, which is going to be the ground for the fairy house, the Mushroom Fae Fairy House. It's going to be awesome, folks, I promise you. I am still on a learning basis on some of these things. This is, by the way, the first fairy faux house I've ever made, other than one other years ago. So I didn't consider that one because I didn't do it on camera. But here we go. All right. Now we're just going to start texturizing this. I'm going to use the balls, and I'm going to use the ice pick. And it's fairly simple. Okay. So I'm just texturing it and using this to roll it. There we go, like that. I mean, it is fantasy, folks. It's not real reality, so it's a fantasy thing. This is a fairy fae faux mushroom house we're working on, and this is the grounds that we're working on. Okay, and then let me get... I'm looking for a tool that I have. A very specific tool, like a fork. So it gets real simple. I'm just going to texture it, kind of scrape it up. The reason we're doing this is so it will have the real look of maybe the grass and the ground. There we go. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. And I'll take those other little pieces and put them back in here so it'll have little pieces of grass all over. Yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome. Trying to keep my hand out of the way, folks. Kind of doing it this way too. There we go. Little pieces of grass everywhere. Pretty awesome. Okay, awesome, awesome. So much fun. Thank you, everybody, for being here. You're such amazing people. Thank you for being my subs. Thank you for supporting my channel. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already for more awesome content. Okay, folks, so this is awesome, huh? It really is. Look at our grass. We did a really good job, and it was all done with a fork. You just go back and forth and up and down and crisscross. And that's how you create the faux grass for your fairy house. And we're going to do 4 of these, so this should be quite an ordeal. It's a good thing I did buy 2 packs of that Fimo leaf green, because I'm definitely going to need it. There we go. Like I said, it's just back and forth kind of motions like this with the fork. And that way you sort of get a real grassy texture. And I think it looks really great. What do you guys think? I hope you like it. It's really neat. All right. And we'll probably be sealing this. I'm guessing we're not going to seal it with resin, okay, folks? We're going to seal it with maybe some Mod Podge. And after we hit it with the heat gun so that it stays one piece and sticks to it and stays solid. All right. Awesome. I'm so glad to have everyone here. Thank you again. I'm Lydia. I'm a mixed media artist. I do everything. And this was just a fun project, and I thought everybody would like the Fae Fairy Mushroom House. All right. Awesome. Okay. And the other thing I'm working on is getting what? This translucent clay, which I just ran through my thing. I stopped the video just a second to try to do this, because this, I don't know why it's so hard. I put softener on it, so it may be something I can't add right now. I did buy some new translucent clay, and I may be switching over to that. So in the meantime, we've made this and working on some other pieces. So I'm going to take a break, but you guys won't know it. So give me just a second here and we'll be working on. Okay, so now we're getting ready to do another piece. I showed you how I did the bacon bond on this. And we're just going to put these pieces on here again, just like this. And I'm going to have to get another package of my green clay. I'm sure glad I bought 2 packs, because I've got 4 of these to do, folks, to make the grounds for the Fairy Fae mushroom house. Okay, I'm going to try to stretch this one out. My hands are so sticky from that softener that I use. And then I ran the green through my pasta machine off camera so that I could clean out the little pieces of translucent. But by the way, they will go clear when they get heated. And it won't even show that that's in there. That's the fabulous thing about translucent clay. So we're just stretching this out. And I'm going to get another pack. And we're going to run that through the pasta machine to make our next grounds for our grass here, which I think came out really well, guys. I think it looks great. I think it came out really good. And we only used a fork. That's what I was talking about. If you don't have certain things, you use what you have, and you know, it works. So we're just pressing this down to fit this part of the board. And this is balsa wood. You don't have to use balsa wood. You could use something cheaper if you can find it. But I'm thinking the balsa wood, even though it's expensive, it's actually cheaper than plywood would be. And it's much lighter. You want something light. You don't want anything real heavy. I'm going to use this ball thing to try to push this out since my hands are so sticky right now. There we go. Just pull and push. Pull and push. There we go. We're getting it. And like I said, that little piece of translucent in there will go clear once I hit it with the heat gun. Pull and push here too, to make sure these 2 pieces are connected. Because when we get to doing the fork, we're really moving that fork in every direction to get that textured look that we need to make the faux grass under our fairy house. Mushroom Fairy House Fantasy Faux Fae Mushroom House. Blah, blah, blah. I'm so glad everybody's here today. Thank you so much for being a part of my channel. I really appreciate it. My name is Lydia. I'm a mixed media artist, if you didn't read my bio. And I do everything from metal to clay to paints to airbrushing, hand hammered, torch work. I do it all. And about 2 weeks, I'm going to be doing some metal work for everybody. So that should be a lot of fun. But I think this is fun right now. Okay, so give me just a second. I'm going to get some more green clay here.